So when I'm sorry that I I had to cut, it was heavy for me. Well, I'm back. I will try my best to be strong and carry all this, because when I'm busy sharing, I also at the same time feel like I'm still in those shoes. It's quite heavy, but I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best. I hope I will cope with this. So when she invited me to come on Monday, it's early in January. You know what happens in January. No one has got money at that time. We're all struggling. So her invitation to my school did not um, have any promise around it. She just said, "Come on Monday, then as teachers we'll see what we can do." So even when you get home, you don't know exactly what to tell them, because you're thinking, um, does it even give us any hope or what? But like I'm saying, I appreciate the effort that she has taken. So on Monday, I woke up early and I went to Sekhwari High School, secondary school. When I got there, it was still early in the morning, so she just passed me like she didn't invite me at school, you know. When I tried to greet, she was like, "No, I will come back to you." So to me, that stress started coming in to say, what if she was just saying it because I got her the corner or something? So little did I know that actually when she's making all those move up and downs, she was trying to convince other teachers that maybe they can contribute something just for me to get a registration, because I had all the acceptance letters. I just didn't have any cent. At home, it was worse, so I couldn't even think about it. So she later came to explain to me, and she said, "Well, as teachers, we convened a meeting. We both agreed that we will do our best to assist you. But as you know that it's January, none of us has got money at this point in time. But we just tried to donate little things that we had. So all in all, everyone managed to make a total of 720. So this is all what we have. With 720, we know accommodation is 4.6. So with this 720, we said that maybe you can use it to at least travel to University of Limpopo. When you get there, make sure that you apply for NSFAS. So I didn't know what is NSFAS at that time. So I just took the money. When I was about to leave, the other teacher came. Is Mr. Morasetla came in and say, um, he called me by the corner and said, Actually, they forced us to give you money. I don't have money. The 20 rand that I donated there, it, I just felt like I needed to contribute something, but it's the money that I used to catch a taxi home. So, but since when I'm selling the teachers of the school, I suggest that maybe you can take this 100 rand and give me back the 20 rand. So, which means now I have 800. So, with this 800, I hopped back home to try and explain. But before I went home, one other teacher said, "Let me have the copy of your statement because it's enticing enough. So maybe I can get someone to assist you. Then we'll see from there." Then I left the statement. I went back home. When I arrived at home, my mother was so stressed. My father was not even around. So I tried to explain to her. They were like, yeah, you can go tomorrow and use the money to travel to University of Limpopo. So lucky enough, she said she has got, I think, 120, in the house. Maybe I can just combine with it, um, so that I can be safe. Well, while I was still there explaining, Memulauzi called and asked, and what is the plan now? Are you going there at University of Limpopo as we ordered you to? And I said, yeah, I will go tomorrow morning. She was like, no, don't go tomorrow. You need to go now, so that tomorrow you already know what is expected. If they're saying they need some documents, you can easily come back home. So it was around 12, around 1 there, and I'm imagining from home to University of Limpopo, it's almost 2 hours. So when I get there, it might be very late. But anyway, she pushed me. I also had that in mind to say, let me just go and try. There was one lady called Lonia. She was already there trying to see what is happening. So I called her. She was like, yeah, you can come over and try with us. So I took a taxi. I arrived at Boyne taxi rank. I took a taxi to Turfloop. And at that time, remember, I only know Boyne. I don't know Turfloop. So I just heard some lady saying she's going to Turfloop. Then I was like, okay, it's fine. Then I know there's someone who can take me there. Well, when I arrived at Turfloop, those who are familiar with Turfloop, when the taxi make a turns, when you face back, you're facing the gate 2. Um, but I couldn't see at that time. So when you're coming from the robots of Makanye, those who are familiar with the place, there's gate 3, then there's gate 2. So the taxi dropped me at gate 2. I didn't even see gate 2 at that time. Because I saw gate 3, I had to walk back from the robots of ShopRite, walk back into gate 3. But it's only now that I realized that that process only was to say, we want to show you the miracle before you get into the university. So when I was walking back to gate 3 that I saw, instead of this gate 2, which is the nearest that I didn't see at that time, before I got into that gate, I received a call. I remember the call was 015, and I answered the phone. Then they were like, Shadrach, where are you? Like, I'm at Teflop. Who's this? Like, no, okay. We are calling you from Mujaji Royal Council. We have seen your results. We are willing to assist you so that at least you can get a registration fee. We are told that you don't have the registration fee. So we are sending you this money so that you can just register. That's when I started seeing that God is doing his miracles. Because remember the stranger that spoke to me in 2012, in 2008, on the 12th of October, said, like it or not, you're going to go to the university, you're going to study overseas. So when those miracles started happening, I started to see God practically in my life coming in. Remember, my parents are just stressed, they don't know anything at that time. I got a call from a complete stranger willing to assist me with the registration. They're like, yes, we, as the Mujaji Royal Council, we are going to give you at least 10,000 Rand so that you can register. Then you will take other things as time goes on. So to me, because I only needed the registration, to me, God has answered my prayers. I was so happy. I cried so bad before I could even get into the gate 3 of the university. And I kept asking God, is that what you really meant when you said you are God? I started praising him. I started, doing everything, saying everything that would make my heart to be so happy at that time. And I kept it to myself. I was like, okay, when can I get it? They were like, no, it's a check. You can come and sign for it tomorrow so that you can continue with your registration fees. Well, I mean, with your the registration processes. I was happy, but I was like, okay, even though it's late, let me not go back home. Let me get into the university and see what is happening. Then from there, I will then go home and sign for the 10,000 to go and register for my LLB so that eventually I can become a lawyer because that's all what I wanted. Well, I got into the university. I walked down to check where they do the registrations. Around that time, the registrations were carried out within the tent. There was a tent by the pond, those who are familiar with the University of Limpopo. So before I could even get there, I found long queues. They're about to close. The NSFAS office closed long ago. So what worries me now is that where am I going to sleep so that tomorrow I can go home? I saw some people that I know, some that I went with at Sunday school. I attended Sunday school with them. Some the high school with them. Especially the high school one was the Lonia lady, as I spoke about her name. But she told me that yes, I do have a temporary accommodation, but it's from a certain lady. I forgot her name, but her surname is Ngoweni. She was studying at Turfloop, so she was doing social work there. So she has accommodated me. I'm not sure if she'll be comfortable with you as a guy. So it clicked in my mind that I don't think it will be possible. Then I started checking other guys. I remember I asked these other two guys that I know. I can't mention their name. They said no. Where we're going, they told us that it's enough. So unfortunately, we can't go with you. And so I was left stranded there. I didn't know what to do. So lucky enough, Memolausi called again and asked just to check an update. And I told her that no, I got the funding. Mujaji Royal Council is willing to pay for my registration. So currently I'm stranded by the university. If there was still time, I would at least catch a taxi and come back home so that tomorrow I can finalize things. She was like, no, you're not going to suffer like that. What you need to do, go and catch a taxi. Try to get to Boyne to Zanin. If you arrive in Zanin town at whatever time, I will drive and come and pick you there to your home. And that was an answer to me was like, oh, okay. Then immediately I ran and catch a taxi around Turfloop to Boyne. Boyne, I got a taxi that took me straight to Zanin. When I arrived at Zanin, before I could even call her, one of my neighbors, Tara, is a driver, so he met me there, was like, Kaya, no, let's go home, and it's late. Then he took me, gave me a lift. I went home, I arrived home safe before she could even make an effort to come and pick me in town. So, which means I didn't even pay for the transport as well. So, that's what I'm saying. The part that I'm traveling or that I've traveled was just surrounded by God's miracles, So when I got home, I explained to them. They were so happy. They were so happy about this whole thing, and I was doing all this by myself and everything. No one was beside me. So I'm just saying, sometimes you need to stand up alone. Don't wait for others to pick you up. Don't wait for others to walk along with you. As long as you've got that little bit of support from somewhere, try and push yourself up, because that's the only way you are going to make it. Most of the people who fail to get space at universities is because they gave up early and they did not have the support. They thought they failed when they did not really fail. So I'm just trying to say, when the situation looks quite tight for you, don't give up in it. God will always try here and there to to uplift your situation. So the following day, I went to their offices. I think somewhere around Habani. Then we signed the no no. I went to Mujaji Royal Council in Sitlagoni. We signed the check, so I needed to change it by, I think it was around post office, if I'm not mistaken, around Habani there. So I signed for that 10,000, and remember at that time when I arrived on Monday, people were doing law, were registering on that day, and you can remember, you can always remember how many students. I mean, almost all the students wants to do LLB. So, which means on the second day, we're in the still space. I mean, I'm still working on finding the 10,000 rand. So they gave me the check. I went back to Turfloop. When I got there, I found quite a long queue, and um, using my tricks, I found myself in the tent. When I got there, I actually went straight to the tent, like the entrance of the tent. I jumped everyone. I went to the entrance. When I was there, this other security guy came and say, "Hey chief, when you've been here, and I've been chasing you from last year. I mean from yesterday, and you still come here today. You don't want to listen. Why are you here anyway?" So his boss came and was like, "Hey, what is happening? Hey, what is happening?" So he checked my documents. He checked my documents. Was like, "But this guy qualifies. I mean, get here, tell him." So to him, the boss, the supervisor, he thought the security says my documents are not enough. For that reason, I have to go back. So when he arrived there, he was like coming to check if I have all the required documents. And obviously I had all the required documents. I was like, okay, it's fine, get in. Then I got into the hall, into the tent, started to move around. I queued, I did everything. Sadly, when I arrived at the desk for LLB, they told me that it's full and they're no longer taking any waiting list. They're no longer considering anyone because it's quite full. So now I had to think about my second option. When I checked my second option, the degree that I loved, but I wanted to do law, um, I considered that if I can just get a space to study rather than just going to stay at home, then I took the moment and think deep about it. The idea was to say, in as much as I love this degree, I wanted to do LLB, but if this one is available, I will have to take it. And indeed, when I checked, they also checked my results. They checked that yes, I made it my second option. They were like, no, it's fine. Although we don't take checks, we will now make a new acceptance letter for you. Tomorrow you'll work on the check and register. So which means I was guaranteed a space now. Then I left the tent. I went back home to try and change the check so that it becomes, I mean, I can have a proof of payment because they did not accept the check. So, so the miracles of God are starting to happen, that even when no one works at home, I still managed to go to the university. The thought has always been that when I finish my education, I want to make sure that my father is getting help with his eyes, because I always believed that no, it's not a permanent situation. When I start working, I will change my family background, I will build, I will do all this and that, because there was definitely no one working at home at all. So we're just relying on the social grants, the child support grant of my younger sisters. And now, if time goes on, it means they're going to grow and no longer qualify. to get the social grant. So all the burden now it's on my shoulders. So if I drop, everyone else falls. So if I go up, everyone else comes up. So I need to push, even when that has actually motivated me to work so much. That has actually motivated me to continue, praying unto God that can you assist me just to change the situation, you know. So I've managed to register fast forward. So what is left now is to get accommodation. So I started looking for accommodation with this other a friend of mine whom we attended Sunday school together, Mpoma Matlepa. So we started moving around the complex of Mangweng, trying to look for an accommodation. So we were wearing our church emblem. So we saw this other lady wearing a church emblem sitting down selling ice cream. So we went to her. We told her that we are coming from Buluwedu in Zanini. We just registered, so we don't have any accommodation. We didn't get accommodation on the campus. So we're just saying if she knows anywhere they have accommodation, maybe we can go there and try to negotiate. And she was like, no, it's fine. I know a house that you can go. So when you cross by Hypersafe, just count 5 houses. The fifth house is where you should go and ask for accommodation. But if they are saying they don't have, please come back to me. So we did exactly that. We counted, we saw the house she described. When we got in there, the house is a tavern, Ratebza. So when we get there, um, we just find people drinking, sitting down, they're focusing on their things, busy drinking there. We're looking around who to assist us and get accommodation. So before we left the house to go back to that lady, some lady came out and was like, I see you need assistance. What is happening? Then we told her that we are looking for accommodation, we are brothers, and so on and so. Then she told us that no, actually the room is there, but it's a one bedroom with just a little bit of a bed that we still try to change. We will change as time goes on, but for now, it's exclusively meant for one person. Then we started begging her that no, now we are brothers, so we don't mind. I told her that now I don't mind sleeping on the floor because we just want a place wherein we can just hide from the streets. Then they were like, no, that room is meant for one person, so there's no way we can change that. Then we started saying, no, it's fine. How about maybe we share the price and maybe add more on it? They were like, no, the room is 1,000, so it's fine anyway. You can just share, but at the end of the month, we need the 1,000. On how you pay, it's not from us. Then we're happy that at least we got accommodation. They said, when you come back next week, make sure that you come with the 1,000. So then we went back home. Um, Fast forward on Monday, I'm trying to ask for the money. I can't find it because the 800 that I had from the teachers, I used it to travel, I used it for food and other things. So it's no longer enough. So now I must find the 500 that at least I can make it for accommodation of that month. I remember it was early in January. The Monday was on the 25th of January 2010. So I told them at home. My father went out to go and try his luck and make a loan so that I can at least pay. Which means in his strategies, he managed to get it because I remember he came back to give me, I think it was 700 because I used the 500 to pay for accommodation so that the remaining money I could get a little bit of grocery and everything. So I've managed to get that 500 and I went back, secured the room. Then when I check Mpo is struggling, he can't find the 500. That's what I'm saying. The experiences that I went through were also faced by many other young people. So he struggled for almost a month to get the 500 until he eventually got it. Then we started staying together in that small matchbox kind of a room with just one window. So we stayed there. I was sleeping on the floor for a very long time. I even got used to it. I slept on the floor for almost the whole semester. But before that, I've managed to pay only 500, that 500 in January for accommodation because I did not know where am I going to get the second one. I had a friend who was working as a petrol attendant. I call him yellow man, Rodney. Uh, he was the one who was assisting me with at least money for grocery in a month. Sometimes they would send 150, then I will try and get maize meal and some eggs and potatoes. It was very difficult. It was very difficult. So the landlord, um, the landlord came uh, on in February and asked for the accommodation fee. I didn't have it. She came again in March. I didn't have it. So situation started being very difficult, even on my side. And while I was still making plans to get at least 500 to pay for the accommodation, they called me at home and told me that they don't have anything to eat. They they are hungry. If I find something where I am, imagine as a first year. As the first year, expected to be I'm struggling to pay for my accommodation. I don't have food, don't have anything. And at home, they're also expecting me to assist. It was hard. It was hard. I don't wish anyone to go through that path. So now I'm stressed by my own accommodation, I'm stressed by my food, and I'm stressed by what my parents have to eat. My dad is blind. No one is working at home.